Okay, so a user reached out to us and they were having trouble getting the chatbot to respond properly on a document like this sample declarations page. And apparently this is all sampled data, so it's fine to show it on video. And you guys will also have to forgive me because I'm not in my normal kind of recording space here. I'm not sure how the audio is going to sound with these AirPods, but let's see. Documents like this can be difficult to have it work properly just because of the structure of the data. Now, interestingly, I think because of the way this page is structured, I tested this earlier and it worked well enough. So I think for this document, we are good. But if it was something more like a table or something, what you may need to do is actually dump that into the actual prompt itself. We've had customers actually do that exact same thing. They've taken, an Excel file essentially, copy all that data, throw it in the prompt, and then the chatbot has access to it. So that is always an option. But another problem here is that if you upload a bunch of these PDF documents, the chatbot is only going to, unless it's not going to be able to, reference these properly, like it would be able to read a database of data, which is probably this is a better situation to have as a way for the chatbot to connect to a database and get perfect data back, not using kind of what's called semantic search. So anyway, let me illustrate this. Let's upload this file. I have it ready to go. And then I'm going to explain again how the uploading of documents works. We do have a video on this in our YouTube tutorial where I think the name of that video is how the knowledge base works. So that can help as well, but I'm going to re-explain that in this video and hopefully it'll make sense. First thing I'm going to do is upload that PDF file. I have it here. Okay, so it's been uploaded. Now we need to train it. Okay, so what this is going to do is go through and create the embeddings essentially so that now the semantic search can actually work based off of those vector embeddings. And I want to explain to you all kind of how semantic search works, but if you want a high level understanding of how it works, whatever the user types in here then gets searched within this document. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to ask is, let's see, property coverages. What are the property coverages I have? And now the semantic search is happening very quickly and the results are being sent to ChatGPT. OpenAI's GPT-4 model technically. And the response is being generated. So it says, based on the sample declarations from Safe All Insurance Company, your property coverages. So let's see, same 160. Yeah, that's correct. Okay, great. So you see this is working. Now let's discuss some limitations here. So the way the semantic search works, okay, is that when I typed in, hold on, let's wait for this to generate. Okay, there we go. So when I typed in, what are the property coverages I have? What's called a semantic search happens very quickly in our in-memory vector database, okay? And what that does, it's just like a human going through here and seeing, okay, what strings in this document best match this string? What are the property coverages I have? And so, of course, the key words here are property coverages, right? And so it's going to search here and find this most likely. What else? It may match on like liability coverages, but that would be lower in the match. So the first result that comes up would probably be property coverages, section 1, right? And so I think you see how it works. It's almost like it's scanning the page and it's looking for strings that have similar kind of contextual meanings. And it's matching on meaning, which is very important to remember, the meaning of those strings rather than just, an exact match. And if you actually want to see this happening because you're saying, okay, what knowledge base results did it get? What data did it get that it then sends to OpenAI in order to create a response? And what you can actually do, we have this debug mode. So I'm going to click update, Show advanced settings. I will turn on debug mode. Oh, another thing I need to mention, if you're getting bad responses, make sure you're using one of the better models, okay? GPT 3.5, it was state of the art a year and a half ago. Now, compared to GPT-4 and GPT-4 Turbo, it's not as good. And we are going to be putting, information in here for the user that we always recommend GPT-4 Turbo. It's a good mix of intelligence, I will say, and the message, the cost to do it is about more than half the cost of GPT-4. So anyway, make sure you have GPT-4 Turbo selected, and then click on debug mode, click update chatbot, and let's go back. Let's copy the question from before. Okay, I've got that copied. Now I'm going to refresh or clear the chat, and watch what happens whenever I ask this. When the response comes through, we're actually going to see some debugging information here, and it's going to show the exact matches from the knowledge base that it found. And right now, the knowledge base is just containing this one document, right? And that is a problem with the semantic search, is that, and I'll go over that in just a second. Let's see, we've got this. You can kind of ignore this top one. We may actually move this top to the bottom soon. But here's all the knowledge base search results. So result number one, type, it's a data file. Okay, that's our own internal way to refer to this. And here we go, sample declarations. It's pulled all this data here. And then here actually is the section 1 right here, where it's got all that data pulled in. And which result is this? Number 1. We're actually going to be improving the formatting of this so it's easier to see each of the results. Yeah, somewhere in here is result number 2. Anyway, I think you get the point here. This is where this data is coming from. And then we send those results to ChatGPT, or technically it searches our knowledge base and then it gets those results technically. But anyway, this is how it's coming up with the answer. Now, one problem you're going to have here with this approach, and this is just a downside to this, is it doesn't have perfect access to all this data, right? This is really something that, like I was saying in the beginning of the video, this is something that should be the bot connecting to a database and then using queries, and not like SQL, not SQL if you're familiar with SQL, but it could use queries that we define for it in order to search the database, pull up, the person's proper insurance coverage, etc., based on some search parameters, maybe like their name or their policy number. We are building that kind of functionality to enable the bot to search a type of database. And that's really how this use case would be best handled. But like I was saying, one problem you're going to have here is if you just upload 100 insurance documents, and then the way the semantic search works is it's going to do matches on, if someone says, what are my property coverages to the bot, it's going to come in here and find section 1 property coverages of some random file, right? The point is that when you upload a file into the knowledge base, it doesn't get the entire document, right? It doesn't get perfect knowledge of this entire document. And so that's why we're building on the additional functionality to actually support these type of use cases. Because if you're not familiar with how prompting an LLM, a large language model, works, there's something called a context window. Okay, you can think of that conceptually as the memory of the chatbot. Well, the working memory of the chatbot. The knowledge base is kind of like its long-term memory, although it doesn't have perfect access to that long-term memory, actually similar to a human in some ways. But the working memory of the chatbot is limited as well, right? Now, with the models we use, it's quite large, and that means you can dump a lot of data into the prompt. So the prompt is kind of where you get access to the chatbot's working memory. And so that is one solution, right, is to dump a bunch of data in the prompt and it has perfect access to that data. Otherwise, you have to use the knowledge base, which has imperfect access to that data. And as I think about this now, I need to make some more videos with some of these metaphors, which may explain some of these concepts to people. But let me know if you have any questions here. So certainly this can work, But because of the way the knowledge base and the semantic search works, it may not behave quite as well as you might expect for this type of document. But that, like I said, is why we are adding the functionality soon to actually do a better searching of a type of database, so that a customer could set up a database of whatever they wanted and define all the data and the structures in that database, and the chatbot could simply call that database based on some parameters provided to it, like maybe the user's name or an email address or something, and it gets back perfect data that it can then use to form a response that gives perfect information to the customer. So I've been ranting a bit in this video. Hopefully this explains this and shows you the capabilities here and some of the limitations with the current implementation of the knowledge base. And these are limitations across all platforms. This is really just how this works. Most people use a semantic search. We're working kind of on the future, which is giving the chatbot the ability to connect to a database. So we will keep you informed on when that comes out. And as always, let me know if you guys have any questions or comments about this. If there's anything I got wrong in this video, which definitely does happen, put it in the comments below, and that way we can get that corrected. And then finally, if you guys have any feedback, suggestions, or ideas you have, definitely join our office hours and let us know. Thank you very much.